Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, dear students, welcome to the new class in the transition metal chemistry, that is inner transition elements. तो इससे पहले हमने जितने भी classes दिए थे वो they were about the transition elements. को हमने D block elements कहा था. Now D block elements में ही कुछ elements को निकाला गया है from the periodic table. And they have been kept at the bottom of the periodic table. ठीक है? So they are basically the two blocks, two rows. उनका नाम है inner transition elements. So before we'll go to that, let us have a look at the periodic table now. I'm bringing the periodic table in the screen. Now you can see this is your periodic table, and this one, this is from scandium. This one, this is your D block. This one. So this is your 3D series, and this is 4D series, this is 5D series, and this is 6D series. ठीक है? Now इस पे अगर आप थोड़ा सा गौर फिक्र करोगे तो you'll see here that now scandium 3D series, this is 4D, this is 5D series. So 5D series is your starts from lanthanum, this one, and this one. This is basically lanthanum. Its atomic number is 57, and this is your actinium, and its atomic number is your 89. If it is 57, then as per the trend of the periodic table, next element on the right side should be 58, लेकिन it is 72. ठीक है? Same is the case यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए. You have actinium here, and next element is 104. So 89 to 104 likely यहाँ पे. तो basically lanthanum और hafnium के बीच में, if you see 72 minus 57, it is 14, and 104 minus 89, excluding 89. ठीक है? इस तरह से excluding 57. तो यहाँ पे 14 elements आते हैं इसके बीच में यहाँ. Same is the case, we have 14 elements here. तो इन 14 elements को निकाला गया है, and they have been kept at the bottom. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो स्क्रीन में. Lanthanum को छोड़ के let's count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. So it starts from cerium and ends with lutetium. इस तरह से आपकी actinium के बाद ये thorium, and last element is lawrencium. So basically ये जो 14 elements है from cerium to your lutetium, this one, so these are this is first series or first D inner transition series, this one. अब इनका नाम दिया गया है lanthanides because they start from the lanthanum. तो basically lanthanide इनमें नहीं आता. Lanthanide belongs to the D block elements. That's your this is your 3 4 5D series. Same is the case actinium, it belongs to the 6D series. लेकिन अब यहाँ पे चूंकि इनका नाम इसलिए actinides दिया गया है क्योंकि उसके बाद जो element they are following lanthanum, the actinium, so they are called actinides. So actinides में you have first element thorium, last one is lawrencium. ठीक है? So thorium, protactinium, uranium, neptunium, plutonium, americium, curium, berkelium, californium, einsteinium, fermium, mendelevium, nobelium, and lawrencium. तो इस तरीके से जो आपका lanthanide है, that is cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, promethium, samarium, europium, gadolinium, terbium, diasporium, holomium rather, iribium, thulium, yttrium, and lutetium. So ये जो दो series है, they have been taken away from the transition block. So that's why they are called transition elements, क्योंकि उनका जो atomic number है, it is basically coming between this lanthanum and hafnium and actinium and your rutherfordium. तो basically this is your inner transition का introduction. ठीक है? I hope कि आपका periodic table आपके सामने है. You might have got the idea. So why they are called as inner transition elements now. So inner transition elements basically हमारा जो topic है, that will be discussing now. ठीक है? So inner transition, जिस तरह हमने D block को define किया, same is the case, we can define the inner transition elements. हमने D block में कहा था that इनमें जो लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन है, अगेन फॉर द अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हेन वी सी द क्लासिकल मॉडल ऑफ एटम, इसका कोई भी एटम आप लीजिए, न्यूक्लियस आपके सेंटर में, देन एक्स्ट्रा न्यूक्लियर पार्ट, वी हैव shells, subshells and orbitals where electrons are present. ठीक है, classical model. So there are various principal energy levels are shells. N is equal to 1, N is equal to 2, N is equal to 3, N is equal to 4, N is equal to 5, and then this is N is equal to 6. ठीक है, सो इसका हम नाम देते हैं KLMNOP एंड सो ऑन. ठीक है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज शेल्स एनर्जी लेवल्स. इनर ट्रांजिशन एलिमेंट्स में क्या होता है, अगर आप डी ब्लॉक थोड़ा सा वापस रिवाइज करोगे तो डी ब्लॉक में जो लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन था दैट वाज एंटरिंग इन N-1 डी सबशेल. मीन्स जो लास्ट एनर्जी लेवल थी दैट वाज जो लास्ट वाला था एस एनर्जी, लास्ट एनर्जी लेवल थी, डी जाता था उससे पहले वाले यानी इनर डी में, दैट्स वाई N-1 डी. N मीन्स द लास्ट एनर्जी लेवल. ठीक है, सो दे आर कॉल्ड द डी ब्लॉक एलिमेंट्स क्योंकि लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन जाता था डी में. इस केस में लास्ट का जो इलेक्ट्रॉन है इट एंटर्स इनटू द एफ सबशेल. सो इन द इनर ट्रांजिशन एलिमेंट लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन एंटर्स इन दी एफ सबशेल. ठीक है, अच्छा इसमें लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन वाज एंटरिंग इन द डी. अच्छा, इसके अलावा जो लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन है इट एंटर्स इन दी N-2F. नाउ दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. इस केस में डी ब्लॉक एलिमेंट्स में या ट्रांजिशन एलिमेंट्स में लास्ट एलिमेंट वाज एंटरिंग इन द डी सबशेल एंड जो एनर्जी लेवल थी दैट वाज N-1 यानी लास्ट बट 1, यानी अगर लास्ट ये है उससे पहले एक. लेकिन एफ ब्लॉक में जो आपका जो लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन है दैट एंटर्स इन N-2, दैट मीन्स हेयर, ये आपकी लास्ट एनर्जी लेवल, दिस इज -1, दिस इज N-2. तो इलेक्ट्रॉन हम यहां फिल करते हैं. दैट मीन्स व्हेन वी मूव फ्रॉम एज बीइंग द पीरियोडिक टेबल बैक, so when you move from your cerium towards this direction, that is your right direction up to lutetium, electron जो है it will add up at each step in the N-2F. Same is the case in the actinium. ठीक है, so now this is important. इसके बाद में जो है हमने d blocks में कहा था they have partly filled d orbitals, partly filled d orbitals. ठीक है, so they have partly filled d orbitals. Same is the case here. These also they have partly filled d orbitals. So F block elements have partially filled or partly filled f orbitals. अब d orbitals में हमने कहा था we have, ये जो d सबशेल है it has 5d orbitals, जो f सबशेल है it has 7 orbitals. That means they will accommodate total of 14 electrons. जिस तरह d में थे they will accommodate a maximum of 10 electrons. तो इनमें सारे के सारे फिल नहीं रहती थी, sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you move from left to right in the inner transition series from lanthanum to lutetium or cerium to lutetium, तो इसमें आपको 1, 2, 3, 4 से 13 तक मिलेंगे, यानी they are partly filled at each and every time. Except if we move to the this one, ये जो लास्ट के दो एलिमेंट्स है they have completely filled F सबशेल. वही केस है जैसे यहाँ पे था जिंक, कैडमियम एंड मरकरी, इनमें भी सेम केस था दैट दे हैव डी सबशेल फिल्ड, लेकिन इनको हमने इंक्लूड किया था, दे हैव बीन इंक्लूडेड इन दी डी ब्लॉक एलिमेंट्स क्योंकि उनकी कुछ प्रॉपर्टी मैच होती है इनके साथ. सेम इज द केस विद ल्यूटिशियम एंड लॉरेंशियम, सम ऑफ देयर प्रॉपर्टीज दे मैच द एफ ब्लॉक एलिमेंट्स, सो दे हैव बीन केप्ट विद देम. अदरवाइज दे डोंट हैव पार्टली फिल्ड डी ऑर्बिटल्स, ये एफ ऑर्बिटल्स. और रेस्ट जितने एलिमेंट है फ्रॉम सीरियम टू दिस, थोरियम टू Lawrencium, that's nobelium, they have partly filled d orbitals. So this is all about the basic definition of inner transition elements. That's in these elements, last electron enters in the f subshell and it enters in n-2 f orbital. That means जो है, this is called anti penultimate. जिस तरह n-1 को कहा था penultimate, ठीक है. So ये जो है, this is called as penultimate energy level या penultimate shell. This is called anti penultimate. So your last electron enters in the anti penultimate subshell and its f orbitals are partly filled, ठीक है, so, except the last one, that is your lutetium and lawrencium. Now this is the basic difference of your inner transition elements. Now their another name of these elements is f block elements. Another name, f block elements, ठीक है. क्यों? Because जो last electron है, when you move from left to right, जो last electron है इसमें, that enters into the f subshell, so they are called as f block elements. ये same case है, इस तरह d block में था, last electron was entering the d, so they are called as d block elements. So another name is f block elements, ठीक है. Now so f block elements basically जिस तरह हमने d का कहा था, so I'm revising d also same time. जिस तरह हमने d block का कहा था, that it has 4 series, 3d, 4d, 5d and 6d. So last electron was entering in the 3d orbital. In this series 4d, then 5d and 6d. इसी तरीके से f block elements में there are 2 series, ठीक है. So one is your 4f series and this is 5f series. 4f series में जो last electron है, that enters into the subshell f, लेकिन that belongs to the energy level 4. इस तरह से और एक series है next one, इसमें last electron enters in the subshell f, but that belongs to the energy level 5, fifth principal quantum number. So ये जो series है 4f series, this is called as lengthenide series. Lengthenide series. And this one is called as actinide series or actinides. इसको हम कह सकते हैं lengthenides, ठीक है. Now अब इसका नाम lengthenide क्यों है? मैंने कहा कि इसमें जो 14 एलिमेंट्स है, इसमें भी 14 एलिमेंट्स है. इसमें जो 14 एलिमेंट्स है, इनसे पहले जो एलिमेंट है, दैट इज lanthanum, Ln. एंड इस तरह से actinide से पहले जो एलिमेंट है, दैट इज actinium. So actually actinium and lanthanum, they belong to the transition element, that are d block elements, but they have been named, these lanthanides and actinides have been named on this element because these 14 elements, they come after lanthanum. Same is the case, actinide 14 elements, they come after the actinium. So actually lanthanum and actinium, they belong to the d block elements. Its atomic number is 57 and its atomic number is 89. तो इसके बाद जो आपको मिलेंगी 58 से लेकर 71 तक, they are 14 elements, these are lanthanides. And same is the case here, 90 से लेके atomic number 90 से लेके you have next 14 elements, that is your lawrencium 1 and 3. So they are basically the actinides. So this is lanthanide series, this is actinide series. It starts with your cerium and it ends with your lutetium. और जो actinide series है, it starts with your thorium and it ends with lawrencium. ठीक है. So this is all about the basics of lanthanides and actinides. इनमें chemical properties same होती है. Again you can see here. So these are our lanthanides and actinides. इन elements में chemical properties same होती है. Same is the case with this. And they have partly filled F subshell. In addition to this, जो इसका D रहता है, D में भी sometimes we have sometimes completely filled D. Sorry, we have the partly filled D. D में usually you have 0 to 1 electrons usually in the D subshell also. So in addition to the F subshell, D maybe we have the incomplete filling of electrons. लेकिन जो main characteristic है that is F subshell, that it is partly filled when you move from cerium to lutetium, and lutetium is completely filled. इस तरह से thorium to lawrencium, lawrencium is completely filled. The rest of the elements इनमें जो F subshell है that is partly filled. So this is all about the basics of your lanthanides and actinides, that is your inner transition series. Up next class में we'll start with the lanthanide series and some of its properties, and then we'll move to the actinide series and some of its properties. I believe this is enough for the introduction, जहाँ से question आ सकता है in the competitive exams or your objective or any theory exam, and this is enough for the basic understanding. So this is all for the introduction.